A very warm welcome to you all on this second international virtual conference on clinical legal education, legal aid, and human rights. I, Mehak Rathi, welcome you. This conference is being organized by Indian Network for Clinical Legal Education in association with Roya Institute for Global Justice, Knowledge Cities, and WebCycle. Without wasting much time, I would like to firstly thank you all for the overwhelming response that has been sent across. We received more than 70 proposals for the conference, and I'm looking forward to hear your viewpoints on the topic. I would like to welcome Dr. Nitish Kumar Upadhyay, co-convener of the conference, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us. On behalf of INCLA INCL, Indian Network for Clinical Legal Educators, I welcome you all for this particular conference. This idea of INCL started in my mind way back 2018, but I was able to do anything in 2019. It took me 1 year to just plan something, and then we have conducted 2 international conferences, some of FDPs, and many workshops in the area of clinical legal education. There is a need of clinical legal educationalists in India. When you're talking in terms of CLE, Indian professors, teachers, most of us, I'll not say them, uh, basically think that it is all about legal aid, how you do legal aid programs and things. It's not about how you can incorporate learning by doing methods in your education system. And far more, when you're talking in terms of legal aid, there is a lot of work that is already been going on. So there is Nyaya Bandhu scheme of government of India, under which pro bono clubs are being set up at almost 80 universities in India, and government of India have dispensed more than 10 million Indian. When we're talking in terms of learning by doing, I'm just mentioning in the very brief that there are methods by which you can teach your student, you can engage your class in a better way. You can use jigsaw group method, you can use tabula rasa, you can use fishbowl approach, you can use pairing and sharing workshop methods. And the next question comes up, sir, we never heard of it. And then I was like, since how long you're teaching law? They said 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, different people. And I said, then how are you doing it? They said, okay, we do in this particular way. I said, you are doing it, but you don't know the technical names for these pedagogical tools or technologies that you're using. So you're already knowing half of it. And the rest you need to just learn. So I also learn few things when I go to such meeting. There are different types. One professor told me that he uses props in teaching. So this semester I was teaching props and I was teaching passing off, and I used two different brands of perfumes, and I actually applied them on hands of students and then asked which one is the original and which is the counterfeit. And then class was very interesting for some time, and then I told them why exactly I'm using the props to teach. So this is more in terms of, because Bloom's taxonomy very clearly state that okay, if you want to reach the top level of the learning, you can only do by learning by doing. Just by listening, you can only retain 5 to 10%, not more than that. So uh, on this, I started Inkil in 2019, and we are planning a FDP soon, Faculty Development Program. Hope you all will join us in that particular program too. And I thank Royal Institute for Global Justice, WebCycle, Professor Syed Masood Noori, Bruce Lasky, and Professor Ajay Pandey for consulting us, joining us for this particular event, Dr. Bharti. So I'm glad I have the blessings of all the seniors in this program. With this, I hand over the mic to Mekrati. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the welcome address. Now I would like to invite Bruce Lasky, Director PepsiCo, for an address. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you all, and I apologize if I'm remotely on this because we're our organization on behalf of APSICO. We're actually in the field doing a number of CLE activities. It's a real honor to be here as one of the directors of APSICO and to continue to support this incredibly important international virtual conference. I can tell you that for those of you who know me, you know that myself and our organization BAPSICLE have been involved in helping to develop and strengthen clinical legal education and legal aid. And as was pointed out, they are not the same thing, although they support each other for many years. I am actually the product of a clinical program from the United States going back to 1991, so more than 30 years ago. And in the last few decades, we have seen the amazing growth, expansion, and deepening and impact of clinical legal education globally. We can look at countries like India that have had it for years, but have really focused in the more recent years on much more institutionalizing this, but not just countries like India, as we see and throughout this conference. You're going to see it in so many countries throughout the world, really taking CLE to this next level with an understanding that CLE as a method, as was just mentioned, can be done in so many of the courses. It's a method that includes using knowledge, skills, and we say values of access to justice in all the courses that are being taught, but also CLE programs that can focus on many different type of models and thematic areas. Our organization has worked for years to develop universities, develop these programs, and help to develop the persons within these programs. Gatherings and convenings like this are fundamental and vital to making this happen. And we as a global network all together, we welcome all of you to continue to do this arm in arm. Now, as I mentioned before, CLE is not legal aid and legal aid is not CLE, but they support each other and they need to be developed in a way where they do support each other. I'll give an example. Right now, I'm in the country of Laos. We have Laos students working with legal aid service providers out in communities doing community legal needs surveys right now. Together. The students are doing it as part of their academic program, and the legal service provider from legal aid offices are doing it to further support their offices, and they're working as a team. Independent programs that synergize and work together as a means to absolutely achieve much greater access to justice and strengthen rule of law. BAPSICLE is honored once again to be a part of this. Thank you to all of the organizers. You model amazingly, and we look forward to an incredibly successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bruce, and thank you for all the support that you've given us. Now I would like to invite Professor Ajay Pandey, Professor and Executive Director, Clinical Programs, Jindal Global Law School. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever is the situation, wherever you are. It's really a pleasure for me to be a part of this amazing organization. And it is extremely important that we responded to various needs of access to justice, human rights, democracy, rule of law, and strengthening the participation of people in all of this. When I say people, I refer to the masses actually, and why I do that. And when I do this, actually, I certainly try to widen the scope and horizon of clinical legal education, which is really very, very vast. And we have several expectations from CLE. One expectation, and that's very important one that I would want to highlight as number one expectation, is to reorient legal education itself. The way our education system is and the way we are kind of dispensing it, it is really important that it remains justice-centric, it remains rule of law oriented, it remains centric to people. And these aspects are really critical. Education is all about light and liberation. And when it comes to legal education, you add justice also. But justice certainly would be a part of light and liberation. But just to highlight one more aspect, and that is justice, which is so critical. So when it comes to legal education, we cannot leave legal education devoid of these aspects, which is light, liberation, and justice. Unfortunately, the way we are doing legal education, it seems that we are serving the cause of a very small population, which is only responding to the part of finance, corporations, and that arena. Most of our moot court competitions and other arenas, they also see a heavy dominance by corporate law and finance and economics and all of that. But when it comes to inclusion of masses in pursuit of education, we really don't see much happening on that front. So I am very happy that this organization that Nitish and his colleagues, Mehak is right here, and of course all the people who are supporting this organization. This is really much needed to respond to some of these challenges and needs. Now, one more aspect which is quite critical is the aspect of inclusion of the community. Now, when it comes to clinical legal education, we understand that we tend to include community, we tend to do community work. One important question that needs to be asked is, what is the level of community connect that we have? Is this only for some pictures that are to be shot and that are to be placed in our brochures and our advertising, etc., or it is beyond that? Now, if it is beyond that, then what is it? What are various aspects that you consider when it comes to the kind of community connect that clinical legal education must have? And when I say a community connect, I cannot refrain from including the fact that law is all about people. Law cannot happen without people. And when I say people, I mean masses, everyone. If law is devoid of people, if it is devoid of masses, it will not succeed. So for law to succeed, it has to be inclusive of people, and people means masses, everyone. Law has to be inclusive of masses in a way that masses are able to appreciate law, not just be a part of it, but they should be in a position to appreciate law. Now, who will ensure that masses have that kind of position and the ability to appreciate law? That is the reason why clinical legal education should serve people. Clinical legal education should take up that role of ensuring that masses have the ability, have the position to appreciate law. That gives us huge responsibility. So big responsibility on our shoulders. When we pursue legal education, we pursue it on behalf of millions of such people that I call masses. And people, they are important people. And legal education has to be done as a matter of trusteeship. So we are trustees as people associated with law. And more importantly, if we are legal educators, if we are learners of law, if we are in any way connected with on a higher scale with law, whether it is in a position of being a judge, it's in a position of being any kind of professional, a lawyer, a teacher, a student, all of these people have a very important responsibility of pursuing law on behalf of millions of these people who would never know what law is, but we know that their inclusion and appreciation of law is extremely important for law to succeed. And law is not succeeding. Unfortunately, it is failing. And if it is failing, then someone will have to come to our rescue. And clinical legal education can be seen in that light, that clinical legal education will make efforts to rescue legal education, to rescue efforts of law, to rescue justice, to rescue rule of law, to rescue democracy. So you can understand that the horizon is very, very vast and the responsibility is also huge. So I really compliment this organization, the Indian Association that you have formed, and I wish you the very best for this conference as well as all other activities that you have planned, everything that you want to do. So wonderful, and you have all of our support. Thank you very much for this wonderful organization.
Thank you so much, sir, for your support and blessings all the time. We are really honored to have you today, and you've really beautifully put it together, that the added responsibility which is there. I always tell the students that you're pursuing law, so you have an added responsibility on your shoulders. And I think with such events and making people more aware, and of course with your blessings, we can take small steps ahead to achieve something which is little far at this point of time. Thank you for joining, sir. Now I would like to call upon Professor Dr. Bharti Kumar, Professor of Law, NLU Delhi, to deliver a short address. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mehek. And I would like to thank the organizers of this great event, the international conference. I would also like to, extend my greetings to Professor Bruce Lasky and Professor Masood Noori, as well as Dr. Nitesh Upadhyay, Mehek, and Professor Ajay. So this is at a very important juncture that we are having this particular conference. As we understand, the access to justice movement as provided, by Capilati and Garth has been in terms of 3 waves. And legal aid is the first wave. And in India, we are sufficiently having the kind of legal framework and the constitutional vision in terms of the relevant articles as well as the statutory enactments. Now, at the earliest juncture, we understand legal aid has definitely made its foray as a very integral component of the trajectory of legal education in India. The aim of legal education, as we understand, is not merely to impart knowledge and critical analytical proficiencies, but also to equip the student with the necessary attitudes, skills, values, attuned to varied socio-legal settings. A very important offshoot is the transformative role to enable access to justice in relation to the marginalized and to the vulnerable sections of society in order to become socially relevant in the practice of law. Both these ambitions, both these aspirations are well fulfilled through the clinical legal component, including legal aid, that has been incorporated as a mandatory component through the Bar Council of India rules, as well as through the voluntary efforts of the students through permanent law clinics, which are based in different law faculties. The law faculties, however, that are involved in this whole process, they face a very humongous task because they are actually thwarted in the present juncture to represent indigent or illiterate litigants, since there is a prohibition to the practice of law in case of full-time faculties. And this is a matter of concern which has really not been taken up in recent times. It needs, perhaps, we need to relook at the situation and to address ourselves on this issue. Further, you find that I absolutely agree with Professor Pandey when he says that it has become more a matter of a kind of a formality in some cases, with respect to even NAC and NIRF indicators, where you need to say indicate your outreach programs as per every college. And as a matter of necessity, then you indulge and, you take up such programs. So in order to have a more genuine interact on this issue, certainly the inclusivity, the diversity, and the participation by people in communities is very, very important. That is really the hallmark of legal aid in any country, including India. I would here like to suggest one particular suggestion. The effective use of technology in today's and contemporary times can be effectively, it can be utilized in a way where we can have perhaps a national grid of law clinics which map out the legal aid clinics that are located in different law schools across the country. And then there could be perhaps an international digital grid of law clinics across countries. This would immediately help to connect on issues of common concern and become an enabler to collaborate on so many projects, which could include awareness programs, research projects, and even sharing of best practices for legal aid. So I would like to extend my felicitations on this particular conference, and very, excellent outcomes are expected. And I wish to extend my my total, my total presence, as well as any kind of help that I may be able to extend in due course for the success of the legal aid, the issues that are there prevailing in our country today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining and for your support always. Before moving on to the vote of thanks, there's a organization, a very special organization called Scholars at Risk, which has sent a short message and a video for all of us. And it's very important that everybody hears it. And just on their behalf, today we will discuss initiatives, experiences, problems, and proposed solutions related to clinical legal education and activities such as pro bono lawyering, legal aids, and street law programs. However, all these discussions and, more importantly, practical actions will be possible when we enjoy academic freedom and university autonomy. Academic freedom, legal clinics can provide this opportunity for universities, students, professors, lawyers, and civil activists. In other words, without academic freedom and university autonomy, opportunities for expressing opinions, initiatives, and creativity will not emerge and will not come true. It should be noted that, unfortunately, academic freedoms are threatened by some government, university authorities, and even some professors and students worldwide. Therefore, one of the proposed topics of this conference has been examination of academic freedom, specifically in legal clinics, defending these freedoms. Despite the mentioned problem, public awareness of importance of academic freedom is increasing in different countries. Efficient institutions help identify and defend academic freedom. One of the leading organizations is Scholars at Risk, an international network for higher education institutions and individuals whose mission is to protect threatened scholars and promote academic freedom worldwide. SAR does this by arranging temporary positions and fellowships for scholars who are facing threats to their lives or academic work. SAR also provides training and resources to member institutions to help them protect academic freedom on their campuses, and engages in advocacy to raise awareness of importance of academic freedom. SAR conducts research and publishes reports on issues related to academic freedom and threats to scholars worldwide. Its work is crucial in defending academic freedom and ensuring scholars can work without fear of prosecution or harm. We invite Phoebe Alpern, Program Assistant at Scholars at Risk, to give a brief presentation about SAR and its function. I'll just share a recording which she has shared with us. Just give me a minute.
Hello, my name is Phoebe Alpern, and I work on the membership and university relations team of Scholars at Risk. Thank you very much for including us in the second International Virtual Conference on Clinical Legal Education, Legal Aid, and Human Rights. And thank you especially to Dr. Syed Masood Nouri for inviting us to participate. I'd like to provide a brief introduction to our work and share some information on our legal programming with you. Scholars at Risk is a 20-year-old nonprofit organization based at New York University in New York City. Our mission is to protect threatened scholars and promote academic freedom. We work in three main areas: protection, advocacy, and learning. Our protection work includes accepting applications from academics around the world who are no longer able to teach, research, and live in safety because of conditions of conflict or direct targeting and suppression. We help arrange temporary positions of refuge for these scholars at host universities in over 40 countries. Our network consists of more than 600 universities, colleges, and academic associations, and last year we arranged temporary placements for over 170 scholars. We also advocate with legislators and the public on behalf of imprisoned scholars, monitor and publish information about attacks on academic freedom, and host online courses about the values that support freedom of expression. Our advocacy work encompasses a program known as the Academic Freedom Legal Clinics. These clinics present an opportunity for graduate level students and their faculty advisor to partner with scholars at risk in order to research and provide crucial interventions for academic freedom. They may involve monitoring and reporting to SAR on attacks on higher education, legal analysis at the local, regional, or international level, or advocacy in response to particular attacks or addressing national patterns of abuse. To date, these clinics have primarily taken place in Europe, and we currently have clinics ongoing in Belgium, Canada, England, Italy, and Scotland. Clinics have primarily contributed research and writing to joint SAR clinic legal submissions to the United Nations Universal Periodic Review process, to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, and to the European Court of Human Rights. This work depends in many cases on SAR's experience with our Academic Freedom Monitoring Project, in which SAR staff and volunteers aggregate data on violations of academic freedom around the world and categorize it by the type of violation they represent, such as prosecution, travel restriction, or disappearance. This data informs the work that we do alongside legal students to provide intergovernmental bodies and agencies with information they need to address violations of academic freedom. Examples of our recent clinics include McGill's Center for Human Rights and Legal Pluralism. We recently made a submission as part of the UN Universal Periodic Review on Russia, which will be available soon. And last year, with the same clinic, we made one on India. In our report on academic freedom conditions in India, SAR documented over 130 instances of violence, detention, prosecution, and other legal action aimed at punishing or restricting the academic and expressive activity of scholars and students in India since May 2017. Roughly a third of those incidents targeted students and scholars protesting the Discriminatory Citizenship Amendment Act, which excludes Muslims from certain immigration benefits. Anti-CAA protests were a frequent occurrence on campuses across India, and protesters repeatedly faced disproportionate force from Indian police, including beatings, rubber bullets, stun grenades, and tear gas, as well as violence and vandalism from opposition groups. The information we gathered as part of our monitoring work was incorporated into our submission to the UN Universal Periodic Review process and presents an important contribution to information gathering on the status of academic freedom in India. We will continue this collaboration as other states are subject to the periodic review by their peer member states of the United Nations. Additionally, the legal clinic at the University of Ottawa partners with SAR and the Coalition for Academic Freedom in the Americas to conduct academic freedom monitoring work in the Americas. This work includes documenting violations of academic freedom across the region, including in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, and the United States. With the Ottawa Clinic, we submitted a summary of incident data to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights last year, and will do so again next month. We are pleased to be able to provide a meaningful and hands-on educational experience to graduate and legal students, as well as contributing to the much-needed collection of data and important advocacy in the interest of protecting and defending academic freedom. These clinics also work reciprocally to allow us at Scholars at Risk to deepen our substantive knowledge of country conditions and advance advocacy at the national and global levels. If you are interested in learning more about academic freedom legal clinics, potentially hosting a clinic at your university, or are interested in learning more about Scholars at Risk, please email us at scholarsAtRisk@nyu.edu. Thank you again for allowing SAR to be a part of the proceedings, and I wish you all a pleasant remainder of the conference.
Thank you, Dr. Noori, for bringing this important organization on board. And it's very important that especially all the academicians and everybody present here should hear it. Now coming towards the end of the event, I would like to invite Dr. Ankita Upadhyay to deliver the vote of thanks. You're on mute.
I'm really sorry. Good morning, everybody. I thank you all for joining us today in this conference of clinical legal education. I'm really happy with this collaboration of Knowledge Teas and Bapesicle, as well as Roya Institute, to have come together with us today to spread the word of and mission of INCL nationally. I believe that colleges today have this lack of or issues in implementing clinical legal education, or even having the vision to do so, mainly because of the lack of trained professionals to implement it. In law and in the non-law subject, especially in the first year and second year, and multidisciplinary other disciplines as well, clinical legal education is hardly implemented, especially in the first and the second year, where it is, I believe, the most important for the students to learn so that in future they think beyond whatever is being taught to them, why it is being taught to them. So INCL is an initiative to bridge this gap. We at Knowledge Teas provide through teaching clinical legal education to children through our conferences and campaigns and workshops. So like Good Touch, Bad Touch, organ donation campaign. Through all these campaigns and breaking stereotype campaigns on gender rights. Through all these campaigns, these children, they go, they talk to people who are at the basic rural end sometimes, and to NGOs or in coaching centers or wherever they get to. And they get to learn and realize what is happening in the world, which they wouldn't know of. A lot of children are entitled to a lot of good accolades at their home, and they do not know what is happening outside or how schools could behave, how NGOs could behave with people. So through this, they learn listening. A lot of our students learn communication, research skills. Our organ donation campaign especially has developed a lot of research skills. This is like a video plus a theoretical concept which goes on in their mind, and this will always last lifelong. This is going to last in their minds. They're never going to forget it. So thank you today. I thank everybody over here. Let me just say the names. Professor Mr. Bruce Lasky, Dr. Noori, Dr. Ajay Pandey, Professor Dr. Bharti Kumar, Dr. Nitish Kumar Upadhyay, our founder at INCL. Mehak Rathi, she's been throughout handling this conference and still going to handle the conference to the end. Our fellow faculty coordinators and my other students who've joined today to make this program a success. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for joining in. It's always a pleasure meeting Gage family again and again. And I hope we stay in touch and we keep on doing more programs together. Thank you for all the support and blessings. We will start the next session on time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Noori. I think it's very late for you.
It's my pleasure. So nice to be